Today we're going to be working on my biggest problem with the 1UZ. The biggest problem with the 1UZ for me is the starter placement. I'm sure it's frustrated a lot of people. It's right here, under the intake and all this nonsense that you have to get to it. So what I want to do is I want to go pull it out, and the two bolts that hold it in are actually right here. So you have to pull the transmission to actually get to those bolts a lot of the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these bolts out, and we're actually going to bring them in on the other side, so then you can pull it without having to pull the transmission and everything else. We'll go ahead and get started. So we got at least the top part of the plenum off, and look at all the dirt. It is filthy. Inside all there, it's going to need cleaned up. You can't even see some of these bolts or some of these nuts just because it's so buried in dirt. So we're going to clean this up and keep going. So the bottom plenum is off, and this is what we're stuck with. It's pretty filthy in there, but there's the starter, and the bolts that hold it on are just right here. We're gonna go ahead and take these off the rest of the way, get them out, and we're actually gonna thread them or get new ones that will be able to go from the inside, so we'll be able to do this without having to pull the transmission. But we're also, since we're in here and it's a mess, we're going to clean it up. Starter out, we're going to go ahead and probably rethread these. It might be easier than finding reverse threaded bolts. And then we're going to make some modifications to the starter to help with the conversion to the KA trans. With everything apart, I'm probably going to start thinking about painting the valve covers and the intake. If you guys have any ideas for colors, let me know. The idea for this build is going to be kind of 70s JDM muscle car. So let me know what you guys think as far as colors go. Let me know in the comments, and we will see what we're going to do. And we will see if you guys have any better ideas than I do. So, got the starter all figured out, I think. I did the couple mods that Collins kind of asks to do or prefers that be done. And I think I found what I'm going to do as far as the bolt situation. Oops. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit smaller bolt so it's still, then just use a washer on each end and then a little lock washer. This part, the actual bolt head, is going to be against the transmission and the bell housing, and that'll just stay in there kind of permanently because it'll kind of be bumped up against it, or at least it won't be able to back out. So I'll leave that in there, and then I'll just put the nut on the other side on the inside, and that'll kind of secure it. It's a little bit smaller, but I was kind of worried about it being loose in there and kind of sagging and maybe messing up with the alignment of the starter and the flywheel and how it kind of connects, but it actually seats on this with a fairly tight tolerance, so really those bolts are just holding it up. So I figured it should be alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get this thing installed. Alright, so we got it on. So these are what the new bolts look like. They're recessed in there so they're not going to get in the way of anything. And they're going to be sticking out so you can actually, let's see if we can get a better shot. They're going to be sticking out like that, so they're easy to get to. You can do this easily from, from the top without having to get back here and mess with the bell housing. You can, I think you can get it without taking the transmission off, but it's just a mess, and it's hard. So it's just nice to do it now and get it all taken care of and not have to deal with it later. So that is how we basically got it back on, and we're going to go ahead and call this a day. Like I said, we're going to clean this up some more, and we're going to paint some stuff, and yeah, let me know what you guys think on colors. Alright, I'll see you next time.